Here's the truth. Total wasn't just another R&B girl group from the 90s. They were a cultural powerhouse that seemed unstoppable until they weren't. Their hits dominated the charts, their style set trends, and their collaborations with legends like the Notorious B.I.G. and LL Cool J solidified their place in music history. But here's the kicker. Behind the scenes, Total was crumbling under the weight of fame, personal struggles, and industry drama. Why did a group so full of promise burn out after just 2 albums? The answer is more shocking than you think. And it starts with an unexpected feud, an explosive breakup, and a secret they tried to keep under wraps. Let's dive into the untold story of Total, the rise, the fall, and everything in between. From the beginning, Total was misunderstood. Critics didn't get them, and neither did the public at first. In a scathing New York Daily News article, the group was called out for their image and vocal abilities, unfairly labeled as too gritty and not polished enough compared to their peers. But here's what the critics missed. That rawness was their edge. Total wasn't trying to be another cookie-cutter R&B act. Their blend of sultry vocals and hip-hop swagger made them stand out in a way no other group could. And this wasn't an accident. It was all part of Puff Daddy's vision. When Sean Puffy Combs signed Total to Bad Boy Records, he saw something special. He didn't just want singers, he wanted stars. Puffy meticulously crafted their image, from their music to their fashion, even down to how they carried themselves in public. He wanted them to exude confidence, mystery, and edge, a perfect fit for the Bad Boy brand. And it worked. Tracks like Can't You See with the Notorious B.I.G. and No One Else skyrocketed up the charts, giving the group instant credibility. But while their music was taking off, their polished grit image created a misconception. Some thought they were just a product of Puffy's influence, lacking real talent. This couldn't have been further from the truth. Behind every hit was a group of women fighting to prove they weren't just another manufactured act. Total wasn't playing by the rules, and that made them both iconic and misunderstood. So how did they manage to capture lightning in a bottle, only to see it slip away? To understand, we need to go behind the scenes, where tensions were building and the cracks were already starting to show. While Total was smashing charts and gaining fans, the truth behind their success was far messier than anyone realized. Beneath the surface, the group faced mounting personal and professional struggles that would ultimately derail their trajectory. Pam Long, often seen as the backbone of the group, revealed that fame wasn't all it was cracked up to be. In her own words, she began believing her own hype, a trap many rising stars fall into. Pam's growing self-importance created friction, not just within the group, but also with those managing their careers. Puffy, who was instrumental in shaping their early success, was known for his demanding and controlling nature. And when the time came for their second album, things boiled over. Enter Missy Elliott, who was brought in to help craft the group's follow-up album. Missy later revealed that she worked tirelessly, spending up to 22 hours a day in the studio to create a sound that matched Total's unique identity. But Puffy, he wasn't impressed. He frequently dismissed Missy's ideas as whack, undermining her efforts and creating a tense work environment. This constant clash of egos wasn't just a creative issue. It highlighted a deeper problem. Puffy's waning interest in Total signaled a shift in priorities at Bad Boy Records. While Total was left to fend for themselves creatively, Puffy was busy expanding his empire, focusing on newer acts and other business ventures. And then there was the infamous Wendy Williams incident. At the height of their fame, Wendy, then a radio host, made a habit of mocking the group, calling them broke and insinuating they lacked talent. But Total wasn't about to let that slide. They famously confronted Wendy at the radio station, performing an impromptu a cappella to prove their vocal abilities. While this bold move temporarily silenced the critics, it also highlighted how deeply the group felt the need to defend their reputation. These moments of tension with each other, their label, and even the media were cracks in the foundation that only grew wider as time went on. Total's story wasn't just one of external pressures, though. Their internal struggles, compounded by the relentless pace of the industry, set the stage for what would come next, a slow but inevitable unraveling. As the cracks in Total's foundation deepened, it became clear that the group was grappling with more than just external pressures. Their internal dynamics were unraveling, shaped by individual struggles and the unforgiving nature of the music industry. By the late 1990s, Puffy's attention had shifted away from Total, and the group was left to navigate their careers with less support. This lack of direction amplified existing tensions among the members. Pam's personal battles began to spill over into their professional lives. She openly admitted that after the initial hunger for success faded, she started skipping studio sessions and turning down lucrative opportunities. Her heart simply wasn't in it anymore. Meanwhile, Kima and Keisha were trying to hold things together, but even they couldn't ignore the growing divide within the group. Kima, who had always been described as the laid-back and sassy member, later reflected on how fame impacted their relationships. "At the end of the day," she said, "it's a job. You get out what you put in." But the truth was, not everyone was putting in the same effort anymore. Part of the tension stemmed from how differently each member coped with the pressures of fame. While Keisha married actor Omar Epps and focused on her family, Pam struggled with feelings of isolation and self-doubt. Their differences, once a strength that gave the group its unique chemistry, now became a source of conflict. And then there was Puffy's infamous approach to managing artists. Known for his tough love philosophy, Puffy reportedly told the group, "If y'all can't figure this out, I don't have time for your cattiness." It was a blunt reminder of how expendable artists could be in a business driven by profit and new trends. What's fascinating is how Total's story mirrors the struggles of many other groups from the same era. Fame magnifies everything, the good and the bad. For Total, the same qualities that made them stand out, their grit, their chemistry, their unfiltered approach, also made them vulnerable to burnout. By the time they released their second album, Kima, Keisha, and Pam, the writing was already on the wall. While the album produced hits like Trippin' and showcased their evolving sound, it lacked the cohesiveness of their debut. Puffy's decreased involvement didn't go unnoticed, and fans could sense the shift. But here's where things get interesting. Despite the internal conflicts and external pressures, Total's impact on R&B and hip-hop culture was undeniable. They set a blueprint for blending femininity with grit, proving that girl groups didn't have to fit into a single mold. The irony? Even as they were falling apart, Total was influencing the next generation of artists, a legacy they likely didn't even realize they were building. Total's influence wasn't just about their music, it was about how they navigated an industry that wasn't always welcoming to women with an edge. They were one of the first girl groups to seamlessly blend sultry R&B vocals with gritty hip-hop beats, a formula that artists like TLC and Destiny's Child later perfected. Their sound wasn't just unique, it was groundbreaking. Take their collaboration with the Notorious B.I.G. on Can't You See? The track became an instant classic, not only solidifying Total's place in hip-hop and R&B, but also showing that girl groups could dominate in a male-dominated space. It wasn't just about being featured, it was about commanding attention in a way that felt authentic. Beyond their music, Total's image challenged industry norms. While many girl groups leaned into polished, hyper-feminine aesthetics, Total's fashion choices reflected their individuality. Their mix of oversized jackets, crop tops, and bold hairstyles made them relatable to fans who saw themselves in the trio. They didn't just wear what was trendy, they created trends, influencing both fans and future artists. But perhaps the most compelling evidence of Total's legacy lies in their ability to hold their own in the most competitive era of R&B. They shared the stage with icons like Mary J. Blige and groups like SWV, yet they carved out a space that was entirely their own. Songs like No One Else and Kissing You didn't just chart, they became anthems for a generation. And let's not forget their resilience. Despite the criticisms from industry insiders and media figures like Wendy Williams, Total never backed down. Their impromptu a cappella performance at the radio station wasn't just a clapback, it was a statement. They were here to prove their talent, no matter who doubted them. Even as internal tensions and external pressures mounted, Total's determination to stay true to themselves set them apart. They weren't just a girl group, they were pioneers. Total's impact wasn't just limited to their hits or their style, it extended to the foundational work they did in shaping the Bad Boy Records brand. When Sean Puffy Combs launched his label, it was Total, along with artists like the Notorious B.I.G. and Craig Mack, who helped establish Bad Boy as a cultural powerhouse. Their vocals weren't just on their own tracks, they became the secret ingredient in some of Bad Boy's most iconic songs. Their work on Biggie's Juicy and One More Chance showcased their versatility, proving they could elevate any track with their harmonies. These collaborations weren't just hits, they were moments that defined the sound of a generation. Beyond their contributions to Bad Boy, Total's resilience in the face of criticism and adversity also set them apart. For instance, when Wendy Williams accused them of being broke and living in the projects, Total didn't just let it slide. Their bold decision to confront her, not with anger but with talent, sent a powerful message. They weren't just a product of Puffy's vision, they were artists with undeniable skill and presence. Their fashion influence also deserves recognition. Total's ability to mix femininity with streetwear made them trendsetters in the 1990s. Fans and fellow artists alike adopted their look, from oversized denim to bold accessories, further cementing their place in pop culture. Even their second album, Kima, Keisha, and Pam, though released during a time of internal struggles, demonstrated their artistic growth. Tracks like Trippin' showed a more mature sound, and their willingness to experiment with new styles set them apart from other R&B acts of the time. The evidence is clear. Total wasn't just another girl group. They were integral to the success of an entire music movement, laying the groundwork for future artists to thrive in a space where R&B and hip-hop intersect. The story of Total isn't just about their rise and fall. It's a lens into how the music industry operates and how it often fails its artists. Their trajectory highlights systemic issues like lack of mental health support, the strain of non-stop touring, and the immense pressure to maintain success in an unforgiving environment. One of the most compelling arguments about their downfall lies in how fame amplified the group's personal struggles. Pam Long's internal battles weren't unique to her. They reflect a broader issue many artists face. The music industry has a habit of prioritizing profits over people, and for Total, this meant little support when things got tough. Puffy's tough love approach, while effective in creating hits, left little room for the humanity of the artists behind the music. Another argument centers around the industry's tendency to pit artists against one another. Total's contemporaries, like SWV and TLC, often face similar pressures to outperform each other, even though they were part of a larger movement elevating women in R&B. This culture of competition, rather than collaboration, created unnecessary divides and fueled misconceptions about who deserved their place at the top. Moreover, Total's short-lived career shines a light on how the industry often underestimates the staying power of groups that challenge the norm. They weren't your typical girl group. They were raw, edgy, and unapologetically themselves. But instead of celebrating that, the industry often sought to mold them into something more palatable. This push and pull likely contributed to their burnout and eventual breakup. Their story also speaks to the fleeting nature of fame in an era where artists had little control over their narratives. Today, platforms like social media allow artists to connect directly with fans and share their truths. In the 1990s, Total's image and story were controlled almost entirely by their label, leaving little room for the women to express their individuality beyond the music. Finally, there's the argument about legacy. While Total may not have had the longevity of some of their peers, their impact is undeniable. They helped define the sound of Bad Boy Records, influence the fashion of the era, and prove that R&B girl groups could hold their own in a genre dominated by men. Their contributions, though sometimes overshadowed, are a crucial part of the story of 1990s R&B and hip-hop. The industry may not have given Total the tools to thrive long-term, but their influence remains, a testament to their talent and determination. Total's story is more than just a tale of music and fame. It's a reflection of the challenges artists face in an industry that often prioritizes image and profits over longevity and well-being. Despite their short time in the spotlight, Total's impact on music, fashion, and culture is undeniable. Their hits like Can't You See and Trippin' continue to be celebrated, not just as nostalgic throwbacks, but as timeless anthems that defined an era. Their blend of grit, femininity, and hip-hop swagger set them apart and laid the groundwork for future artists to push boundaries. But their story also serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of how fame can amplify internal struggles and how the music industry's relentless pace can leave even the most talented artists behind. Today, Total's legacy lives on in the countless artists they've influenced and in the enduring power of their music. Whether or not they reunite for another album, their place in music history is secure. So what do you think? Could Total have avoided their downfall with more support, or was their story always destined to end this way? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories of music legends. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.